Hey everybody, I'm leaning you in a place I'm hoping will work. Oh, I don't know. My tripod is put away. So, anyway, I wanted to come to you today to talk about something that I recently learned about, and it absolutely blows my mind. Let me grab my tea. I've got a little bit of a cold, and I'm drinking some Breathe Easy Yogi tea with real honeycomb in it and 2 lemons. So, let me get that. Really, really good if you're having trouble breathing. Everybody got a cold. So anyway, I wanted to come to you today to talk about the Stockdale Paradox and why it's really important, especially in these times. I am putting this in the mental health playlist for this reason. I think it's important. Plus, I'm also going to have a recommendation for you at the end of this video. So let me go ahead and get started. So the Stockdale Paradox was developed by a man that was kept in POW prison camp in Vietnam for over 6 years. I actually, when I was packing books, I actually have the book From Good to Great by Jim Collins, which discusses it in depth, and I wish I hadn't packed it yet because I'd really love to dig into it. So I just did a little bit of research. Dr. Steve Turley talks about it often, and I wanted to discuss it with you. I love comb. Honeycomb? Oh my gosh. Anyway. So, him and I guess his entire platoon, or regiment, were taken as prisoners in Vietnam, and not very many people made it out of it. It was 6 years long, and 6 or 7, and when Stockdale was asked, how did you survive, and how did those that did survive? I don't even know if there were others, but I think there were others because this is how he developed this, or at least pointed it out. I don't think he developed it. I think it's just part of reality. I think it's having a, I think it's almost biblical. So they asked him who died and why did you live? And the people that did survive, why did they survive? And he explained it. He's like, it's very simple. So there are 3 types of mindsets that happen. And this is really important. You need to find out where you land. And probably, especially right now, we're going on with some stuff. You might want to get into that 3rd set. First set was, these are the people that died faster. And they were the people that were the naive optimists. So in other words, and this is really prevalent. I've been through this experience a lot over the last 3 years with what's been going on, especially since 2020. Obviously, that's 3 years. Where you think everything's going to be all right, but you put a date on it. You know, like he said, the people that would be like, oh, you know, Thanksgiving's coming up, it'll be over by then, and then Thanksgiving would come, and they would get depressed, and then they would say, okay, by Easter it's going to happen. And then it wouldn't happen. They wouldn't be rescued, and they would get depressed. So they basically just kept doing that until they finally died of a broken heart. They were eternally naively optimistic. The second group of people that died relatively quickly were the black pillars. Now, what does that mean? Now, this is something that I work on with Wayne, because he tends to, I don't think he ever had any hope until I started becoming part of his life again, where he just started saying, and we've gone through the naive optimism, and right now in this hard time that we're experiencing with outside influences, I'm not so much having a hard time emotionally right now, but he has his moments. There's somebody walking in the woods, always watching the woods. Anyway, it's a beautiful day out today. It's windy and balmy and sunny, and I'm excited because I got the fan going, the room's getting all aired out. Anyway, the second set of people were the black pillars. The people that saw absolutely no hope whatsoever and were dead set in their mind that this was going to end badly. And it did. You know, where nothing could be brought to them to give them any hope. And they just were tortured. And it was just, not only were they being tortured, they were torturing themselves. And they died. The ones that survived are what you call, what do they call it? The pragmatic optimists. And these were the people that ended up surviving, and this is what the difference with them was. They absolutely had no doubt and no shaking faith that everything was going to be all right. However, they were able to take a serious look at the terrifying situation they were in and understand it. So they knew that they were prisoners of war. They knew they were being tortured. They knew it might take a long time before they ever see the end of the tunnel. However, they knew that without a shadow of a doubt, they had faith that they would make it out. They were the only ones to survive. So when we think about our mental health, and we think about the situation in the world right now, it's wild. I feel like any day now, something's really going to break open. I do think about dates or time periods an awful lot. And I know that during the first part of those 3 years, I really thought it was going to be over a lot faster and it would get really depressing. And that probably added to my depression. Now I know that it's going to be okay. I know God wins and good wins. When? We will soon see. Okay? I cannot put a timeline on it because it's not in my time or your time. It's not for us to determine that. So there are some people out there that are pretty good at calculating based on ancient texts and biblical stuff. Like Jason Berciers from Archaics, Bo Pony, he's really good at it. And like Bo Pony will actually give dates, but he's like, but that is, it's not set in stone. I'm not sure. He just goes by the mathematical calculations based on his biblical study and ancient text study. Jason Berciers from Archaics is really good at this. They're not completely aligned, but that's okay. It's all right. If you're interested in looking into something like that, to go for it. Plus, the Jason Berciers book I highly recommend, and that's on the reading list for this playlist. So, so during this time, it would be very wise of you to get into that faithful mode. Okay? However, that doesn't mean that you should not understand what's going on. You have to be aware of the dangerous things that are happening in our world, in our society, all across either this plane or this globe. And so that means that we have our own personal responsibility. It can't just be about someone coming to save us. Not that there isn't, but the thing about that is they're only going to come save those who save themselves. You know what I'm saying? It's really up to us to connect with that deep faith and take action on it. So I wanted to recommend to you, because I know that right now the food thing is getting really funky. I know that in Australia and New Zealand they are given to all of the food products they export and keep inside their country too. All of them at slaughter and at packaging. So if it's a vegetable or a fruit, it's at packaging. If it's lamb, which a lot of us are probably going to be eating lamb for this Resurrection Day coming up Sunday, don't buy it from New Zealand. Now, I have no idea how long they've been doing it, but I learned about it about a year ago. And you could look it up. That's insane. We know that cattle in Europe has been genetically modified and played with straight from Bill Gates' mouth. Not growing up. I didn't grow up in a farming community, but in my time in Vermont, it was farms, dairy, lots of dairy. And at that time, years ago, before this whole thing started with us, the farmers were being paid money to dump their milk. Things are going on. And they've been going on longer than we thought. So when it comes to food, it's really important that you start growing your own. You get yourself connected with some local heirloom seeds. Learn how to work with the land in a permacultural style way so that you don't have to use chemicals, so that you don't have to, so that you can kind of create your own food forest. And this can be done with people that are living in urban areas or apartments. There are ways to grow as much food as you possibly can so you don't have to rely on the grocery store, because I'm telling you what I'm learning about food in the grocery store, and I always thought I was kind of smart. Stuff is dangerous to eat. There's a symbiotic relationship between food production and pharmaceutical companies. Did you know that the FDA recently recommended that children under the age of 2 have a tablespoon and a half more sugar added to their diet? Wonder why. Wonder why they would say that. Because refined sugars is not something you should be putting in your body. The sweetest you should get is maybe some fresh, real maple syrup, not that corn syrup stuff, not that, and honey. Best way would be to cultivate your own. If you live in a colder climate and you've got maple trees, you should be tapping them. Even if it's just a little bit. I mean, it's a very extensive work. So you might not want to do a lot, but how much maple syrup do you have? A year. You know, me, I've had a little tiny one like that for over a year. I don't have it a lot. I do like to use it in cooking, though. So I just recently got some honey with honeycomb, which I have not been able to find since I lived in Florida. And I was so stoked. I got it the other day. But you could have a bee. You could have a beehive and make your own honey. You should not be throwing out your food waste. You should be composting it. That's crazy. You should be learning preservation methods for stuff that you grow. But what if you're not growing anything yet? So what I wanted to do is send you over to Food Forest Abundance. I'm going to put the link in the description. There is a promo code, Tara Woodruff. You get 5% off if you decide to purchase anything. But they will actually come out. You can put in your information and get a free consultation with them, and they will tell you exactly, based on the things that you want to do and the needs that you have, they will help you design it. And that's totally up to you whether or not you want to. They don't apply pressure. They're coming from the heart. Really good guys. This guy down in Florida, and he has people all over the place. And I became an affiliate to that because I believe in that stuff. I used to have my own gardening business where I would plant raised beds in people's yards for them because they didn't know where to start. I did that in Florida, so my body can't really handle that outside of what I got to go do here. You know what I mean? Well, not here because it won't be here, because that got ruined, and that's okay because wherever Wayne and I go, we'll be able to do it. It's just because of this time, it's a little discerning that I'm not going to be able to get started when I really should be. So, with that being said, that doesn't mean that's something, because God moves things overnight sometimes. So who knows? I have a really good feeling about the future. Even though I'm aware of what's going on right now. So, I'm going to put the link in the description. Go check them out. They've got a bunch of different options. I mean, you might be, ready to rock and roll on that and say, I got a couple acres of land. I want the whole thing to be a food forest. And I want them to come out, and I want them... And then you get their quote and whatever. I have no idea how much it costs. All I know is that they will go through either designing you something so that you can have the design and go ahead and apply it yourself, to installation. That's really powerful, especially for people like me where you got a bad shoulder, my back is always hurting, blah, blah, blah. Really powerful stuff. And they will consult with you from apartment dweller to large landowner. So I'm really excited about offering that to you, and I think it's important that you at least look into it. Take a look at the link, look through what they got. The guy's a really good guy, and I'm really excited about offering it. And I just haven't. I think I've mentioned it a couple of times in my art channel, but nothing crazy. I think I posted it once on Facebook. But I think it's really important that you come to terms with that pragmatic optimism and become part of the solution, because you're going to have neighbors that are going to get hungry. You could have them come and help. Like, say, for instance, if this was going to be a place that we were going to be staying, it would be something I'd want them to come and talk to every household on this block and have everybody participate. Because we might need to rely on that, So they deal with everything from vegetables, fruits, and they go by your zone and animals and all that, and they will help you figure that out. And I think it's really important. In the meantime, maybe you don't feel like going over to that link, or maybe you do, and then there may be someone local to you that does something similar to that. We do have a goat farm here, and the gentleman actually runs like a little school on how to do that. And I'm actually thinking, if I stay in this area, I'm actually thinking I might go and volunteer there so I can learn more husbandry, because all I've ever done is chickens. And I know that goats are important. They're so delicious. And they're really cute. And they're good protectors. And there's a lot of good about them. And they will clear places for you. And that's really cool. They're not a really sustainable long-term animal, but it's definitely something that you should consider in your small homestead. I've seen people have them as pets and walk them like dogs, and they still get the benefits of what that goat does for them. So I highly recommend it, and that's what's up. I want you to be brave. I want you to stand tall, hold the line, and keep your faith, because anything is possible. We got this. And I love you guys. God bless you. And I hope you have a beautiful day. Bye-bye.